Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Three
Yeah.
Currents podcast. You what?
You just said go live in full high definition, and I was like, so everyone can see our pretty faces.
Exactly. Well, not if they're listening on the
All of
podcast, then that's not going to
awesomeness.
work. But if you're watching on the YouTube, then you can see.
Oh yeah, that's right.
yeah.
The audio.
Indeed. But thank you very much for tuning in, all the lovely people. What more could you want on a Wednesday morning? First off, we apologize for not recording last week. Had some shit going on, so don't worry about it. But we're back.
Cam needed a mental health day, mental health week,
Yes.
and everyone needs a mental health week sometimes. So that's all good. We're all good with that here. Even though we're idiots, we know that's pretty important. So we do that shit.
Indeed, but yeah, we're back at it with the first chat. So yeah, that's all you could ask for. But we've had obviously like 2 weeks now since our last recording, so no pressure. But I'm expecting massive updates and news and exciting stories and things that's happened to you guys. So yeah, hit me. What do you got? Or just say nothing. That will be good.
We'll say nothing.
Yeah, that would be good for audio podcast.
Indeed. The most exciting thing I have had happen was not Saturday night. That was not exciting. But
what happened on Saturday night?
Sunday morning was not. Old age caught up with me. That's what happened on Sunday, not Saturday night. Saturday night was great, but Sunday morning, not so much. But I've been going out and feeding my fish and and then
it's a good start.
I was just looking at.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, go, and then just looking at the tanks. So I was looking at my trophies tank, and I was like, oh, the water level, it's a bit low. It's like, oh shit. Hopefully not another leaky tank. I don't want to deal with that shit. And then I was like, oh, that tank's a bit low too. That tank's a bit. Oh fuck, they're all a bit low. What the hell? So I looked over at the water change thing, and it's all lit up, and it says it's going to work, and tells me the next time it's going to turn on. So I stuck it on manually, and then looked at the drippers, and the drippers weren't working. And I was like, so this is the problem with the water change system, and that you just set and forget it and never check it. So it hasn't been working for who knows how long. The fish were starting to look a little bit off when I was feeding them, and I didn't really investigate too much. I should have, but yeah. So you're both on mute. That was funny. I'm talking to myself.
I was just doing a massive sneeze. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And I'm typing, so I just figured that I'd mute it because I know how to use the mute button, unlike you, Boomer.
I don't even give a fuck. Anyway. So yeah, long story.
I was just swearing every second word, eh?
That was the first swear word, wasn't it?
No, I think you're dropped to now.
3 minutes 20. That's pretty good.
Well, that's not what she said.
I'll be probably happy with that. Anyway, you got 3 minutes 20 in heaven's better than no minutes 20 in heaven, is what I always say, But yeah. So, Braxton's here, and he's got a name this time. That is not good. He's used to being a Facebook user.
He's on YouTube this time, not Facebook.
Well, he's stepped up in the world.
For the record, every one of our watchers right now are all on YouTube, not on Facebook. As you were.
Whoa. So yeah,
the thing with that is, sorry, I couldn't get it to add to the Facebook group, and I don't know why. So that sucks. But you guys are watching on YouTube or normal Facebook. So hi.
Okay.
Yep, but yes, continue. Water change machine.
So yeah, I got my multimeter out and tried to remember how to use it because it's been a long time, but figured out that it was. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and not very clever with multimeters or anything like that. Don't know anything about electricity. So
pretty shit for an electrical engineer.
Yeah.
You think that'd be the first thing you need to know about?
Nah, I didn't know what I was doing, and it was saying it was working, but it was putting no voltages out to my solenoids, so it was not even doing anything. So off to Bunnings. $125. Bought a new brain for the water change system, and it's just real cool because it's hooked up to my phone too. So yeah, I love it.
So nice. So what the moral of the story is, you should check your stuff if it's really important.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and be a bit more. I should probably just mark the water level on a couple of tanks so I notice if it drops at all.
Yeah,
You know,
that would be a nice, a low
rather
tech
than just
solution.
noticing the water is below the algae. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
The algae's dry.
That's probably a bad sign.
And I mean, the controller that I bought was a good one, but it was secondhand. The original one I was using, so it was of unknown age and condition. And for $125, I just bought a new one. I can do a water change from my phone anywhere. But the cool thing about the new one too is if it goes offline for more than half an hour, it sends me a message to my phone, so I know if there's a power cut too.
Cool.
So that's actually quite a cool. It's got a second function of being a power cutty indicator thingy.
Nice. So it's an upgrade.
Good.
That was the plan the whole time.
It's a massive
to
upgrade. And
the
also,
system.
we had a 9-hour power cut the other day, and the fish didn't even care.
Is that because you live in Helensville?
Well, they rebuild some of the power lines, down our street. But yeah, so the people that worry too much about power cuts, the fish were happy. I opened the door, and all I could see was the trophies fighting in the dark. So I was like, the trophies are happy. You know, they're just chasing each other around still. They don't give a
So
fuck
they're
about
just
the
doing
power.
their normal activities.
Yeah. The only thing I did to prepare it was I had been closing the fish room a bit because it's been getting cooler. The temperatures were sort of 26 to 28 degrees. So I just opened the door a little bit more the night before to drop it down to about 23 to 25 degrees, just to
Air temperature or water temperatures?
water temperatures. I don't know what the air temperature is in there because it doesn't matter.
It's hot. It's too hot.
It's pretty warm.
I always
So yeah,
sweat my balls off every time I'm in there.
That's the only thing that I did to sort of prepare for the power cut. Was to lower the temperatures a little bit.
A couple of weeks ago, Helen was mentioning that she was expecting to have a power cut and about the battery air pumps and that. And that was for like the whole day. And the fish were happy. She was happy. Plants are happy. What more could you want? Probably power, but aside from that.
Yeah, civilization and power will be good, but you know, it happens sometimes.
What do? Yeah. But no, and what have you had any? So okay, Cam. Now you just got to top that story with something interesting or exciting or fun. So
and technology based.
Oh, I can't win that one.
You can't even use an Inkbird, so fuck, you're stuffed.
I can't even work out sometimes which way to plug a socket into a socket thing. I don't even know what a socket thing is. I just point,
plug.
Yeah.
It's probably one of those people that'd make one of those like American ones with the round pins fit in like one of our wall plugs somehow. Just jam it in there so hard that it just
get
goes
a hammer and start bashing it, and it'll get into the right shape.
Shut up, dicks.
All right, tell me your story.
Before I get into what I do, I just wanted to bring up this comment. Helen says that she missed us last week, and the 3 idiots is the highlight of her week. It's sad but true. I appreciate that. It's fantastic that we are the highlight of your week.
Helen,
and
when we start making money from, if we ever make any money from this, we're gonna have to pay for some counselling for you because that's fucking terrible. You need some help.
What do you mean? We do make
you
money
need
from
help.
it, man. Hell, my Lambo doesn't pay for itself.
Thank you, Helen. We appreciate it.
Yes,
we love being the highlight of
it.
your week. Cool. So what are we talking about? What am I talking? What have I done this week?
I don't know. You hadn't started some sort of story that's exciting or interesting.
Cool. Lemon Tetra is hatched. I've got Lemon Tetra fry. I've seen the fry. So that's cool. I've failed on pretty much every other attempt so far. I think we have diagnosed that the pH is slightly too high to be hatching the eggs. So I bought some phosphoric acid, I think, yesterday. So hopefully that'll drop the pH a little bit, and then maybe we'll get some extra fry hatching, because spawning them isn't the issue at the moment. Getting plenty of eggs is actually hatching them, so we'll try that, see if that works.
What is your pH at the moment, and what do you think it needs to be?
It's coming out of the RO conveniently, my pH pen decided to shit the bed yesterday. When I put it in one of the tanks, it read 7.4, and then when I put it in the arrow water, it read 13, which I thought was a little bit incorrect.
Unless you're the eyes stuffed.
Oh, I did the API test afterwards, and the pH on that came in at about 6.
Although if your tank water was 7 point something and then your RO was 13, it can't have. There's no way it even been stuffed. It could add that much minerals into it, so it's got to be pH pens.
Yeah,
you can calibrate them though, or is it past calibration?
Well, I might just put new batteries in and see if that helps to start with. But it's like not particularly old, and I calibrated it not long ago. So,
is it a Chinesian one or is it actually a good one?
Yeah, it's a trade me one. So I was thinking about also just upgrading on to something that's worth more than $4.50.
Yeah, because you can, you could just go on Temu and just buy another one for $2 if you want another one the same. But if you want one that's actually going to work.
Just doing your job, thinking, well, if I've got to buy 20 of these, it's still cheaper than buying a more expensive one. So I'll do it that way. And it hasn't paid off because 5 months down the track, it's gone to shit already. So
and it doesn't work. And when you need it, it doesn't work, and it's dumb.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So we'll try and bring that down, get that sorted, and see if that helps with the hatching. Stripped my female frontosa yesterday that spawned on Saturday, so that was kind of cool and a bit of an experience. I haven't stripped a cichlid for a very, very long time, so I was freaking out a little bit, but that all went okay.
It's not an easy one for your first time in a while.
No,
that's
easy. That'd be easy because it's a big fish, so it's easy.
Yeah,
but it's a big fish to hold still. I mean,
no, she was really calm for the best part,
nice.
Which was good. And I struggled to get her jaw open, so I just used the back of a butter knife because obviously it's quite flat, and just that cracked it open really easily. Well, she didn't want to give up the goods, so. And I didn't want to really rip down on it.
I don't know if there's any listeners that don't know what stripping a fish is, but it does not involve red lights or straw poles. It is where you take the baby fish or eggs out of the mama fish's mouth. And African cichlids have their babies in their mouth, so.
Yeah. I managed to record it, which I was a bit surprised I managed to do. So that's going to be on YouTube and Facebook and all that kind of good stuff.
Did the recording involve a lot of like shaking hands and swearing and water splashing all over the place?
No, you see, I'm a constant professional without using the right word correctly, and I put it on top of a ledge, and I recorded directly down over top of it. So
that's smart.
It'd be funny if you were phone on the ledge and recording, and the phone fell into the bucket. That'd be.
That's what I was going to say. That'd be hilarious.
Well, you see, I was ahead of you because I was worried about this, so I put a counterweight on my phone so it wouldn't do that. Although I'm a member of the three idiots, I'm clearly the smartest one of them.
No, you're obviously physics master. But anyway, your RODI water should be very low.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So I would suggest if it's not low enough, your RODI might be on the blink a bit as well. Have you got a TDS meter?
Okay, decided to shit itself as well. So last time I did run the TDS.
You've got to buy some better quality stuff.
Yeah, well, I've been hanging around with Ryan too much, and I keep buying $3 stuff.
The hard part with instrumentation is there is a probably can be such a substantial difference between cheap and expensive. You know, like you could spend probably $2,000 or $3,000 on a meter if you wanted to, but you know, probably don't really need it. It probably doesn't need to be accurate to 0.00007 of a
sort of hobbyist grade, if that makes sense. So. Last time I checked the TDS, it was coming in at like 007 or 008 or something like that, and I've probably only made maybe 400 liters of water since then.
Yeah, so it should be good to go then.
So it still should be. Like I wasn't too worried about that. The membranes don't look filthy or nothing like that, so I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, I probably do need to go buy RODIs and stuff like that.
The super high quality pH meter that you probably got is $8.47 on Temu at the moment, so minus 22%. So it's pretty expensive. And there's a high precision one that's a digital water tester for household water. There you go. That's $27.28 though. 50% off.
Crazy stuff.
Problem is that I don't trust Temu, so I can you buy it for me and just send it to me? I don't want them having my information because, oh, wait, you're the one that normally wears the tinfoil hat, not me.
This one does
He wears the tinfoil
TDS.
hat with
This
the
one
colour
does
of their
TDS,
head.
pH, and temperature for $27.
I need it. That's like $7 each, $8 each.
That's a 1 gauge, and there's a
It's gotta be
7-in-1 one.
Hey!
Salinity, SG, temperature, water meter for drinking water. Oh, there you go. Wow.
Look at that. Looks like I'm off to Temu. We're not sponsored. Hashtag not sponsored.
Unless they want to, then hit us up.
Well, there you go. It's
No, the more you know.
Yeah.
Eh?
That's my exciting times. Oh, and I've got red terrors in the shop while in the building as well. When I
Nice. Tell us about them.
first ever got into fish keeping, they were like, "Oh my god, I need this fish," and we couldn't get them in New Zealand, or they were incredibly hard to get, or something along those lines. And I've always wanted them because they are just incredible looking fish, psychopaths, but incredible looking fish. So when they came up on one of the suppliers' list, I couldn't help myself but to buy some. So I bought 3 of them. I'm clearly going to sell them all because I've got nowhere for them. But I can at least say now that I've owned red terrors, so I'm pretty excited about that.
sorry. Also, phosphoric acid. That's what you use to lower the. I didn't know you used that to lower pH. Like I use it to strip rust off my Holden. So it's interesting.
Pretty powerful. Yeah.
Well,
Apparently, only takes like a drop and it does its thing.
No, yeah, okay. I've
Yeah.
never heard of that.
Yeah.
Definitely water soluble because that's how I clean it off. But
Cool.
did you end up buying this this tank deal that you were telling us about? You went quiet on it after we told you not to. I feel like you were
Well,
going
you're
to
gonna
buy it
have
anyway.
to. Well, before you do that, you'll have to explain what you're talking about, Ryan. Obviously, everyone else here doesn't read our group chat because that would be weird. So,
Well,
what are you talking about?
Me
I
or
can't
Ryan?
even-
I was saying Ryan, but someone just tell the lovely folks.
Okay,
Or don't.
Cam was telling us he was looking at buying a whole bunch of tanks and fish and stuff off someone, and we were telling him that if we were hobbyists, definitely we would buy it, but if we're a business owner, we definitely wouldn't because it's going to be a pain in the ass. So, and I'm just wondering if he actually bought it because he went quiet, he disappeared. So I think he might have bought it anyway.
No, I'm still swaying towards no, and on that logic as well. From a hobbyist point of view, it's a good buy. From me liking fish, it's a good buy, but from like a business point of view, it's not a great buy. So there's 3 tanks, sort of 1300s by 600 sort of scenario, a couple of small 2-foot tanks, a whole bunch of stuff, like half dozen or so canister filters, a few other bits and pieces, all the box of goodies that everybody has. There's a whakapapa, a royal pleco, some sort of another fancy pleco, a big breeding pair of jags, big ass Oscar, so all that sort of stuff that kind of interests me but kind of don't interest me, so like I get stuck with it. So like from a hobbyist point of view, great. Again, from a business owner point of view, not great. So I'm still swaying on the fence of probably not. But yeah, been quiet on it because we didn't really go any further than that.
I thought you'd done it. I was gonna give you shit, but you haven't done it
I
yet.
thought you were gonna do it.
Yeah.
No, if they were a whole heap of smaller tanks, which would kind of serve a purpose for me that I really need out the back, then I probably would have. But I don't really have a need for 3 large 400
The
litre
biggest
aquarium
problem is you'd end up with a breeding pair of jags that you couldn't get rid of,
and a breeding pair of
heaps of
jags.
Oscars and stuff.
Oh, there's only one Oscar. It's huge, but there's only one Oscar.
And there was some
but yeah,
there was some clown loaches and stuff in there too, which would have been cool.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not huge though. They're smaller than a pin sort of thing.
Okay,
But they look nice and chunky, but they're not ginormous. Like, I could deal with them pretty quickly into the group that we've got, and the Royal Pleco would sell fairly easy in that. But yeah, it's the 3 tanks that aren't really what I'm looking for, and the breeding pair of jags would be the main thing.
And
So
the boxes and boxes of crap and the unknown canister filters.
Yeah.
Because by the time you go through, test all those, buy all the parts for those, sort it all out, you've spent days on something that's worth $50 or $100. You know.
Yeah.
So if anyone's interested and wants to get it all and just give Cam a 10% finder's fee, hit him up. Basically, that's
or even just a
basically that's
download.
the
Happy days.
yeah.
Braxton,
That's
Braxton's probably pretty keen. I believe he's looking for some tanks, so maybe he can. And Dunedin's not that far from Blenheim, right? Just a bit of a drive.
Blenheim, what the hell? Blenheim?
I'm from Nelson, sorry. I'm still
You inbred hick.
I'll take
Can't
it.
Funny story. Yesterday I put a couple of broken tanks on Facebook just to get rid of them. Yeah,
Bro,
and
chuck those in the bin.
yeah. Well, someone might want to pull them apart, DIY project sort of thing. If they don't get picked
Fair
up, that's exactly where they're going. And old Thomas chirped up and said, "Oh, will you bring them down to Waimate for me?" And for a change, I had the ability to say Nelson was the biggest city, and he got to drive up to the Big Smoke to come pick them up. So I felt really good about that.
Well, I mean,
Now I know how you guys feel.
Big smoke
here it
or
is.
just like
Here it
medium
is.
smoke?
You need to bring this comment up as well, and we'll get back onto that topic you were talking about. This comment from Matt.
There you
go. It's been noted that there's live beers for sale on your website.
And I do like beers.
And we're just trying to wonder where these come from. Because this is what I was telling you about. There's a weird website. There's a website error, but I'm not going to tell you about it. It has to be revealed live.
Yeah. And do you remember the conversation that I had that nobody likes a cricker and you're a prick? So, like, I didn't really care. And now that it's been brought up, I'm going to leave it there just for shits and giggles.
Yeah, can't go wrong.
I think you should get an alcohol license and put some beers on that page and see if you sell any.
Well, funny story. I used to brew a lot of alcohol. I used to brew bottles and bottles and bottles of spirits by the bottle.
Did you do moonshine because there was no way to get anything else in the middle of buttfuck nowhere?
Hey!
Comedy.
I don't live in Waimate. That's where we're meant to be picking on now.
I'm pretty sure that Thomas would drive up and buy that deal and get those tanks off you. So there you go.
For free. For free.
And Braxton reckons those fish are listed on all those fish listed are trash fish. I thought he said they were listed on Trade Me. I'm getting older and I have my glasses on, so you know.
Oh, there was also a rainbow fish in there, Braxton, so that would have made you happy. Just a single dwarf neon rainbow.
Oh, can't go wrong, eh?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
That sounds like an exciting couple of weeks, doesn't it?
Yeah. For me, what I've had going on. Well, the thing I was going to say is, I mean, not specifically anything I did with fish, but I think it was 2 weeks ago, pretty much on the dot, I got to do the presentation at the Fish Club, Auckland Aquarium Association. So I got to do the presentation. I talked about axolotls for 45 minutes, so that was a good time. It was quite fun because all the people there, obviously, going to Fish Club, like, know a lot about fish and everything. Yes, but, like, they're obviously, very serious fish people. But then, like, a lot of people, quite a lot of them knew nothing about axolotls, so that was kind of fun.
I like the way that you called it Fish Club.
Is that not what it is?
No, I just the way that you said they all go to Fish Club, it just reminded me of like band camp or band club or
Fight Club,
like an American, Fight Club, like an American high school type thing. We're going to
one rule of Fish Club is we don't talk about Fish Club.
Can't argue with that, but
I thought it was an association. Yeah. It's almost like how boy racers call themselves car enthusiasts. Fish Club people call themselves associations.
Instead of sending someone a quote, you send them an appraisal. Sounds nicer, you know. So
lawyer,
we could be more official.
Yep, but yeah, no, that's basically the coolest thing that's happened to me in the past few weeks. That was a lot of fun, and yeah, it's the first time I've done any public speaking since I failed my school speech in like year 11. So, what more could you want?
That was only last year too. So fuck, you've done well.
Yeah, man, it's a quick recovery. But yeah, no, so that was fun. And then specifically for fish for me, what else has happened? I had some some drama with just 2 Oscars deciding that the entire tank belongs to them now because they want to spawn. So that was kind of a pain in the ass, and I had to move them. But it was kind of funny. Like when I pulled them out with the net, literally looked like I'd gone for a swim because one of them got the perfect good angle when it flipped its tail to like just shoot a wave of water at me. And then I was like covered in water, and I put them in the tank, and I turned around, and there was just someone there, like this old lady looking for directions. I was like, man, I just must look crazy right now.
I've just
Like,
gone for a swim.
Yeah, I was like, because she obviously didn't even see me put the fish in. I was just standing there absolutely soaked, and I was like, yeah, this is kind of awkward, but sorry about that. Where are you trying to go? So, yeah, that was funny. But yeah, and then, yeah, that's basically it for me, I think. Obviously, I've had some personal stuff going on, so I haven't been playing around with the fish too much. But yeah. Braxton is complaining that when he got to come talk to the fish club, Ryan wouldn't let him in. So that's not ideal. To his house, I mean.
Conveniently replying to him that he probably didn't want to go because of the bad touch. So he probably saved himself a little bit of trauma there.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Then you didn't have to go to Helensville, so win-win situation.
Also, I wasn't there, so yeah.
Well, still could have let him
anyway. Anyway,
Hey,
yeah, I did say he was welcome to go out and have a look anyway. But anyway,
I haven't been to Helensville in my new car yet, and man, I'm loving this rear windscreen wiper. It's an absolute vibe. You know, it rains, I can see things. What more could you want?
Not the rain.
Yeah, that'll be funny.
Good point. But yeah,
we've got some friends here at the moment, and I just was out packing my truck before to go to work, and I noticed their windows down in their car. They left it down all night, and I just went and checked, and their car has not been stolen, and their windscreen wiper has not been stolen. So
it's not down. Someone just stole their window.
Is something? Is your stuff still in the car?
Yeah. I mean,
no, they had heaps more stuff in there last night. Don't worry about it.
They haven't stolen the car seat or the pizza boxes. So I've verified that they're there.
That's the only important stuff.
Yeah, well, that's all I can see. Yeah,
fair enough. So yeah, I guess now, well, it is time for the listener mail portion.
Oh, I thought I was going to chant random question song.
No, you need to learn the what is it called? Pattern we go on every day.
Why don't you send me an itinerary every week?
Because it literally hasn't changed in like 6 months, and I thought you would have remembered it by now. But I was going to say,
we can't. Mail?
I don't see any mail. Where?
I thought we had something to catch up on.
No, nah. I think we did it already.
Okay. So, sort your job out.
Can you shut up? What I was going to say is, if you guys want to send us listener mail that we can read out, or any questions or stories or anything, you can email us at podcast3idiots@gmail.com, or come tell me or Cam in person, or send us a Facebook message, or I don't know, however else you contact people nowadays. That would be cool, because I'm not going to lie.
If you live in Nelson, you can send a carrier pigeon.
Hey, send a carrier pigeon. That'll be fun. That'll be a fun story in of itself.
Are we on X Twitter? Can they send us messages on X Twitter?
If you want to set one up, sure. But
I do not. So they can't send
reading. I'm actually reading a book about Twitter at the moment, so I can tell you all about it. But cool. So yeah, do that. But yeah, and then so now it's random question time.
Random question. Random question. Random question. I'm happy now.
Okay. So this one's a little bit different, and this one kind of ties itself into the listener mail segment, in that this one is a random question for the audience. And I want you guys to email us or Facebook message us your genuine answers, like as many as possible. I want to get like a lot of answers. So what I want to know is, if you had to, under penalty of death, I want to know your fuck, marry, kill for the Three Idiots Talk Aquariums podcast. So
that's pretty funny though.
I hope you guys know what that means. If not,
what did you say?
You know what I said. I didn't. I was trying to think.
What was the middle word you said?
Marry.
Oh, I thought you said bury. I'm like, wait a minute. Burying and killing is
Well, no,
basically
that's
the same thing.
Yeah. That's the same thing.
You could
So,
say
Well, unfortunately,
have
I'm married. Ryan's engaged, so you're the only one that can get married. So it's either me or Ryan that are getting laid or dying.
I don't think it's
well, I don't know.
real.
It's up to the people. Yeah,
Oh,
just,
right.
I'm
think
not
it's
actually
real.
going to marry
Like,
anyone.
You know,
Oh.
But yeah, I don't know. Have a romantic relationship with kill
Woo!
or marry, and you guys email us the results or Facebook message or something.
I like how
And-
you separate romantic relationship and marriage.
Well, we all know what that means, but I've decided that's probably not the best thing to say on the podcast. So, ideally, the more of them there are, the more we will have to read out next time, and that will be funny.
And-
But you
We'll
what?
probably get a trend, right, as well, on who's
On
going to get
X.
killed. Yeah.
Well, hey, it's up to the dealer's choice. No matter, we have nothing to do with it. We have no input. It's just
It'd
Up
be
to you
funny if you
guys.
do include reasonings.
Matt has asked
And-
if we need to include reasoning. Yeah, reasoning will be funny. Yeah.
do it only if it's funny. If it's boring, don't worry about it. But make it funny, and we'll read that out too.
Rochelle asked, "What's the deal with alien bedders?" Which is kind of following up from our last episode, right?
Yes. So if you want a more in-depth discussion, I think last week or last episode, or maybe the one before, we talked about it. But do you want to give us the quick overview, Ryan?
I think we went into it a lot better on the last episode.
Man, you are hilarious.
Anyway, I just tried to throw better in there and it failed. But anyway,
Yeah.
Alien bedders are the other ones we're referring to as hybrid bedders, aren't they? Right? They're basically a hybrid bedder.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, the problem with most of the fish is we probably, if we can't determine what species they are, then technically they aren't cleared by MPI. But how do we determine what species they are? Is basically the summary of it.
Yep. That's the gist,
That's
I
it.
guess. But yeah,
You
you want a
know,
more- I think we talked about it for like 10 minutes, so that would be the place to go.
I mean, it
from-
happens. It's like it's how a dragon's bloods and OB's imported. They don't have a species, so yeah, they're a hybrid.
They call it winging it,
But
which is probably
they're
not
peacocks,
ideal.
So yeah, it's an interesting one.
They'd come in under Alana cars, wouldn't they?
Learning a car, a Niasa or
Yeah.
something random
But
like
as
that,
we
which doesn't even
as we
exist.
discussed, that's not a real thing. Well, it's
No.
an old-fashioned
No.
thing. So,
But it was the
What that
original
means.
intention of the name. So is it right or wrong?
I don't know, asking some pretty big questions for a bunch of idiots
Heavy-
sitting around
heavy
7:30 a.m.
Heavy hitters on the Wednesday morning. Yeah.
Yeah, man, exactly. But yeah, so if you guys send us your answers to the question, I'll collate a little I don't know, I'll get a little tally going or something of the answers. Hopefully we get more than
one.
Yeah, more than one or two answers. Otherwise that'll be kind of awkward, but it's not up to me. And just know that, Ryan would be very grateful for whatever you say.
To be dead.
No comment.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's that, I suppose. And yeah, I guess it is time to move on to the main topic, we would say, of the episode. And that is kind of crazy because it's only 34 minutes. Normally it's like
Sorry,
55.
I've just seen Thomas's comment, and yeah, I agree with that. It's ridiculous. But anyway, he
Well,
said that there are several
Podcast.
Cory species on the approved list that are either misnamed, misspelt, or just don't exist. Yep.
Yep,
Because they keep
100%.
changing the names of everything and they don't update the list, and it's just a nightmare. That's why we should be going blacklist, not whitelist. But anyway, again,
So
we don't get to
basically,
make the decision.
what you're saying is Corys are too confusing.
Yeah, but I mean, if there's Corys that we aren't allowed, they should be on a blacklist, and we should be allowed every single other Cory, and it's way easier to maintain.
Yep.
But yeah, because it's like when people say, "Oh, those fish are illegal," eh? Well, it's like Well, they're not technically illegal. They're just not allowed to be imported at the moment, but they were imported legally. So does that make them illegal? Just because they changed the list and took them off?
Man,
You
you're
know?
back at it with the deep questions on the Wednesday
Yes.
morning.
Yeah. So, but anyway.
But yeah, no. So if you guys want to listen to more about that, we'll probably have 2 or 3 episodes that are in the area of that kind of thing. So listen to them. That would be much appreciated. But yeah, so I don't know who wants to get us started, but we're talking about fish that we wish would be easier to keep, and that can be for any sort of. There's, I'm sure, so many different reasons why that might fit them in this category. And I guess that's up to you guys, dealer's choice, and
I
what
wish
exact
it was
definition.
I wish it was easier to keep Tanganyikan and featherfins. Because
that was not exactly where I was going with that
at
question.
the moment,
fair
it's
enough.
really hard to get them because you'd have to illegally smuggle them into the country, and yeah, it's just really hard. So I wish it was easy to keep them.
So what, for the people who don't know what that is, what are you talking about? Because we get a lot of community fish type people listening. So
they're really cool Tanganyikans that are not on the allowed tropical fish list to be imported into New Zealand. And
they're basically
they call them a sardine basically because they're a big schooling. They're quite a schooling fish, and they're just awesome.
It's like basically like the tetra of African cichlids, if that makes sense.
Are they?
Like, if you imagine that'll more or less get you to the right area.
The Tanganyikan rainbow fish we're talking about. Tanganyikan rainbows.
Yeah, I don't think that actually.
They call them featherfins, flashes. There's all sorts of different varieties.
Sorry, I think I'm thinking of a different fish. I'm thinking about the blue and purple ones. Purple and orange ones.
They do have blue ones and purple ones and black ones and all sorts. Cool ones. Yeah,
there's like a whole variety.
Yeah. Oh. And they get to like 25, 30 centimeters long. And they dig big, massive, like spawning craters, almost like a volcano, and breed in them and stuff. And they're just wicked cool fish.
Yep. And yeah, I guess the reason they're hard to keep is that we can't get them. So that poses a challenge, shall we say?
I think, well, technically, if you had some, you'd probably say they're illegal. But I have seen them in the country legally. So there you go. 20 years ago, I saw them. 20 years ago, I saw them, ones that were imported legally before they changed the list. And I believe they died out. So
fingers crossed there's like some random person somewhere in the middle of nowhere with a group still kicking around, but
yeah,
seems unlikely.
Odds are there's not.
Yeah, but hey, if anyone's listening who's got some, hit us up. I know a guy who will give you many thousands of dollars for them.
Probably
sells a lot of insect
I don't want MPI
so.
coming knocking.
Again. But yeah, that's a good start. What about you, Cam? What would you say?
I'm just trying to look at these pictures of these fish.
Sick. Well, I'll go next.
Yeah.
One of the main ones I was thinking is like, in general, puffer fish, but I'm going to go specifically pea puffers because I think the main problem with them is they only really eat like live foods or frozen foods. So things like brine shrimp, bloodworms, mosquito larvae, all this kind of thing, snails, all these kind of things that it's a bit more challenging for if you are maybe a younger person or someone who's like likes fish but doesn't listen to podcasts about it at 7:30 on a Wednesday morning, that kind of thing. So if only they would eat flake food or something like that, man, they would be so good for so many more people and so much more like interesting. Like, hey, I got nothing against guppies and platies and stuff. I love them. But if there's an opportunity to keep pufferfish with the same sort of level of difficulty and ease of success as a guppy, man, people would just go crazy for them. So that would be pretty cool, I reckon. The other thing as well is if they weren't so crazy aggressive,
frozen food and stuff.
You can get them on frozen food, but still that's a bit of a pain in the ass for a family. Yeah.
What about like those freeze-dried shrimps and stuff? Would they eat them?
Don't think so. The only thing they do that's like the way I describe it to people is like there's the Hikari Vibra Bites, or I can't remember what it's called, but Extreme's got one that's like basically the same, which is like these little like
Tropical got one as well.
Tropical's got one as well, but they're like these little like kind of stick looking things, but they look like little worms, but they're like prepared for. It's basically like a pellet stretched out into a little string, and then you put those and the way they like sink, it looks like a worm, like squirming around. And so sometimes they eat those, but I say to people, probably don't bet on it, because if you get one and then it doesn't eat it, then you're kind of in trouble. But if you get one and you're like happy to feed it brine shrimp, for example, and then it does eat them, that's a win. But even if they would take that more, they'd all take that 100% of the time, and you don't have to worry. That would be easier. But there is some that do, some that don't.
So you're saying you wish that puffers in general would be easy to keep because they only eat live food?
No, that was specifically pea puffers, but like puffers in general, if they were easy to keep, like if figure 8 puffers were true freshwater, that would be cool. And if they didn't need shellfish all the time, that would be a lot easier for people. If Wahaka puffers didn't take chunks out of Oscars and stuff, that would be cool. Like things like that, like just a little bit more chilled out would be a bit more approachable for people. But yes, specifically for the pea puffers, if they were easier to feed, and also if they were a bit more calm, so like you could more reliably keep them with like other fish. Not like everything necessarily, but like if you had some options, like if you could keep some cories or you know, something else that I can't think of an example, tetras, that would be cool. But they get a bit murdery, which is not ideal.
Murdery.
Yeah, they called them murder beans for a reason. It's because of the murders they commit.
Is it a trading? Is it like a training thing? Can you train them all to just eat thing food? I know with marine fish they have a lot of issues with that, and they train them and they eventually get them onto pelleted food and get them eating properly. Or is it they just don't?
It's one of those ones like sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Like maybe, but it's going back to what I was saying before. I wouldn't bet on it.
But they're aquarium bred, but are they mainly wild caught, the ones we get in?
Yeah,
they can be bred in aquariums. Sorry.
Yeah, from what I gather, pretty much all the ones that are imported are originally wild caught, and then like I know there's a few people around breeding them, but not in enough volume to like supply.
And did you guys see the breeding pair of arowana on Trade Me?
I did, yes. I was looking at that just before we came on.
The supposed breeding pair, I should say, because I haven't verified it myself. But there's definitely photos of fry on there for $30,000.
Cool. That is, I'm going to say, not a good investment, because you'll probably struggle. Even if I have no idea, but assuming they do breed and everything, who are you going to sell all these fish to?
Well, how much are they worth?
What are they worth?
Huh? Both of you talking at the same time is not ideal. Okay, now someone talk.
What are those shiny sort of fancy coloured Asian arowanas worth?
Well, if you grow them up to like, say, 30 centimeters, worth is hard, but like maybe like 3,000, say. But
that's retail, right?
Yeah. Like that's what Ronnie would sell it for, more or less. But if you had 20 of them in the pipeline, probably they'll be worth whatever you can use to get rid of them, you know? So yeah, it is a hard one. I think you'd really struggle to sell enough to even make 30,000 back.
What are they asking for? $30,000 for the pair?
Yeah.
So 15,000. So there's a bit of GST added on that for them being a breeding pair, basically.
Because they're probably worth what, $3,000 to $5,000 as adults.
Yeah, because like even big fish, big Asian arowanas, are still hard to sell when they get big.
Yeah,
because who can house a 50 centimeter fish? And often, I'm assuming people that buy Asian arowanas want to grow them from young, so they've got this pet the entire life through. train them, keep them the way they want to keep them, sort of thing. So I would have thought that'd
Yeah,
be a bit of a
exactly.
hard sell it.
It does also depend. Probably depends on their grade too, doesn't it? Because I don't know much about them, but I do know that some like are really, really good quality. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
have we got some of them in New Zealand? I don't know. I know that Ronnie at Pupuki imports a lot of higher grade ones and stuff, and the other importers probably do too. But yeah, so they could
There's
be.
some really flash ones floating around, but
Mm,
you know, they don't.
I
I
wouldn't
think
know.
generally make it to trade me or anything. You know,
Are they the same as Penny? Those fish?
yeah, pretty much, but nicer than her
What's she?
quality wise. The same, like the 24K crossback allegedly, although I'm not 100% convinced.
So that's a gold one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does the grading of arowanas go? Is it color based and all that kind of stuff? Because from my understanding, whatever coloration they say, they just get deeper and deeper as they mature, which makes sense.
They also use fancy lights to bake the color into them, don't they? As well, like to try and recreate some light and actually.
They call it like tanning, but that's mostly for the like reds. They like tan the colors on with like UV lights and stuff to bring out more, you know, more red and stuff as they grow.
So are the gold ones, do they end up like a gold color as they mature, and like the red ones, do they add like a blood red sort of coloration, or how does that work color wise?
Yeah, more or less. Like the gold one, I mean, I'd probably describe it more as like a yellow, like a bright yellow for them when they're mature, and then the red ones is more like kind of like if they're under the right light in it, it'd be like kind of darker red with a bit of like, yeah, almost like dark red with like a bit of like black almost through them.
Yeah, there's all sorts. I just googled it, and there's a whole bunch come up on here. But there's super red ones and high back golden ones and ridge-tailed golden ones and super reds.
The super red and like the blood red and stuff is just ones that have been tanned a lot more, so they get a lot more deeper color than your like standard red ones.
Do they stay that deeper color if you stop tanning them, or do they just sort of revert back to a more normal color or natural?
Generally, they'll lose it.
Yeah. And there's purple ones as well, eh?
Yeah, there's like all sorts. Not as much that we get in New Zealand, but you get even like kind of greenish ones and stuff.
I'm assuming these are just all been line bred color variations put into them.
No, it's like, oh, you're putting me on the spot, but I believe like the more gold ones is from like the Philippines, and then like the more red ones is from Malaysia.
Oh, regional variants.
Yeah, and then the green ones, I think, is also from Malaysia, but like a different part. Someone I'm sure can correct me, because to be honest, it's been a long time since I've looked at it, but it was like collection points. But then they're like line bred from there. So the blue ones come from the gold ones, I think, like just bred to bring out more blue and stuff like that. But
a few years back, I listened to, I think it's called The Dragon in the Glass Box. I think it's called. It's an audio book about.
It's a book, eh?
Yeah, I listened to the audio book. Fuck, it is good. Excuse my rhynisms. It is so good. If you haven't listened to it, find the book or find it on, what is it called, Audiophile or Bookifile or whatever that audio book place is. And get amongst that. It's a bloody good listen.
What's it called?
The Dragon in the Glass Box, I think.
Is it about arowanas?
Yeah.
Okay.
From memory, it's about a lady that was over in Asia and then potentially being smuggled or purchasing one or something like that. It's been a long time since I listened to it, but I remember during listening to it, holy shit, this is a great book, and it's great to have a book that's about aquarium fish, but not a textbook, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It was really
the CITES, the CITES listed. Is that right?
Yeah. It's
So,
called The Dragon Behind the Glass.
Yeah. It's such a good
look
listen
on
read.
Amazon.
Yeah.
And
it'll be on Kindle or audio listen book, whatever it's called.
And I believe it's a New York Times journalist who wrote it.
Yeah. It's brilliant.
So
it's really good.
Fancy.
Yeah.
It has Yeah,
Even
looks
Ryan
pretty,
would like it.
well reviewed,
might-
even. So that's a good
It
start.
might be one for my long road trips. There you go.
Yeah, the kids will enjoy it too. The kids will be forced to enjoy it.
I just had an image of like Ryan sitting there driving with a book on the steering wheel. Audiobook. You can get
looking
audiobooks. I
down his
forgot about
glasses
that.
like Homer Simpson, licking his finger,
Yeah,
turning
exactly.
the page.
Why is that funny? That's how I was going to read it. There's no other way.
Dangerous
There's no
driving.
other way.
Set a better example.
I'm not allowed to use my phone while I'm driving, but I'm allowed to read a book. No law against
Exactly.
that.
In Auckland traffic, you probably could read a whole book before you go anywhere anyway, so it wouldn't make any bloody difference.
You need a
Exactly.
picture book.
And
Yeah.
Matt's
Well,
also put an analogy in there about training puffers. Have you guys
He
seen that
said, Ryan, training a puffer on dry food is like when training is like training your silicon skills. Ain't gonna happen. Oh, he's just saying you're bad at doing silicon, so you'll be bad at training, which I
Which
kind
is
of agree with that.
amazing. It's incredible that you're really bad at silicon skills because, like, you're really good at everything else. Like, you are just an electrical engineering masterclass of everything else, but you can't put silicon on glass. It just blows my mind. Like, you can fix Holdens,
one?
but you
I
can't
can
glue glass
I can
together.
put silicon on glass. It just doesn't stop leaks or stay
It doesn't stay there.
I've put a lot of silicon on glass, on the viewing panels everywhere. You know, it goes everywhere. It's on your fingers and just, I'm great at it. Effectively and functionally, probably not so good.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
Shit.
Well, back to the main,
I
topic.
think
What did you have next, Cam?
Matt, if you're still there, you need to send in an email and tell us what happened with your flatmates. That could be a story for next week.
Was it a hedgehog and he was trying to cross the road?
No, it's fish related. Anyway. Okay, and what other fish is hard to keep?
I find some nanofish to be a bit temperamental, which is a bit of a pain. Chili rasboras can be a bit of a dick. But yeah, there's a lot of little nanofish that are just a little bit more awkward to keep going. A little bit too much flow, they don't like it. Food being a little bit too big, they obviously can't eat it. Some of them, although don't need live food, they do significantly better when you're hatching things like brine shrimp or giving them white worms on a regular basis, that sort of thing. So I'm just sort of lumping a group of fish, like little microfish and nanofish, into one sort of wee group. Some of them are fine; they've got no dramas with them. But the other ones are just a little bit temperamental for one reason or another. So yeah.
Nice,
Yeah, that
nice.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So
I
you
also
just
should probably apologise to Matt. You can do it anonymously, and if there happens to be a story that comes in about your flatmates next week, it won't be from you. Okay.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know who it
Neither.
is. It's just,
Sounds like it could be a fun time though.
Anyway.
yeah. But yeah,
So that'll be my wee thing. They tend to be a little bit tougher to treat as well because they're a little bit smaller. So if you need to put treatment in there, they can be a little bit more sensitive to it.
Yeah, that's a good choice. I like it. I mean, everyone seems to be real, into their nanofish at the moment. So I think it's a good choice.
I also think
can't go wrong with that.
If we had access to a lot of hardier, smaller fish, people might have a little bit more success with smaller tanks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, makes sense.
It's still setting them up a little bit when they're starting out because they don't know how much to feed and all the stuff we've gone through previously. But at least if they've got some fish that aren't stuffed to start with and have a chance, they have a chance,
I'd like to counter that and go, there's a lot of people that keep fish that don't keep the fish they want to be keeping in the right way the fish want to be kept.
Yep.
So if these little fish or any fish come from really dimly lit areas with really soft water, really slow flow, not a lot of predators around or big predators around, and then you chuck them in this glass box that's bright, colorful, full of action, no refuge to hide from, incredibly high flow, then of course they're going to do well. But you're going to blame blame the fish for doing it, as opposed it should be looked back and maybe the fish keeper themselves aren't doing what they need to be doing. So it goes kind of both ways, I think, there a little bit.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
And that obviously there's two elements to it. Is the fish crap, or is the environment crap, or is it a combination of both?
Bit of both. Add some stress from all the traveling around. Like there's lots of things to go with it.
Yeah.
And and you can see why people keep easier fish like African cichlids, because the parameters requirements of them are so much wider to some of the other fish. The chance of being successful is so much better, and increases the hobby and enhances your hobby for that reason.
And then they're hardy in that element, but then they've got their own intricacies in terms of stocking and stuff. So and it's always a trade-off.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, that makes sense, I reckon. I'd say that's a good choice that probably a lot of our listeners can relate to, given the types of fish that a lot of them keep. So, yeah. What would you have for your next suggestion, Ryan?
I am going to go with 5-bar Neo Treats because they're cool.
Oh, man, they're cool.
They're just dumb. They're cool, but they're dumb.
Yep.
There's one in there somewhere behind me. They're just a real cool fish. They're almost like a miniature frontosa is probably the only way you could really describe them, but a slightly different shape. But and they just,
I reckon that's a pretty good description. Close enough.
A different shape. People often mistake them for frontosa, but they're not. And the problem with them is, and I know so many people that have done it, they've gone out and bought 10 of the bloody things, put them in a big massive tank like this, and then come back a week later and end up with one. No matter what. They just, the one male just kills everything, They're just psychos. And they get imported all the time, like regularly. They're around, and then it doesn't seem that anyone ever manages to breed them. I'm not saying that no one in the country has bred them, but I'm saying that I've met quite a few people that have tried, and no one's been successful so far. So yeah, I wish.
Because I haven't had these conversations. Do you think aquarium size is the reason why it hasn't done it? Like, are there people trying them in too small of aquariums? Are they not giving them dither fish? Are they not giving them enough rock work? Like, why do you think that? I know there's psychopaths, but why do you think that is part of the reason there's been no successful spawning?
I do know a guy, we can hypothetically call him Matt Punnett, maybe, who bought like 10 or 12 of them and then stuck them in a very small tank. And I told him that it was a stupid idea. And then he ended up with one. But I do know other people that have not been that naive and have also stuck them in bigger tanks, like 6-foot tanks, literally, with 1-inch fish, full of rocks and stuff. And the pool has the same outcome. I have a total of 4 of them now. 3 in the fish room and 3 separate tanks. It's three in the fish room and 3 separate tanks, and one big one behind me. And I'm basically just going to forget about them for a couple of years, and then I'm going to try and make some sort of mesh divider.
Spawn them like American cichlids, you reckon?
And see if I can spawn them through a mesh divider, like put some rocks and caves and stuff by the divider, and see if they'll spawn through a divider.
Are they mouth brooders or nest layers?
Yeah, they're just egg layers.
Yeah, cool. So you could work like big angry Americans that are between the mesh potentially.
That's my idea, but the ones I've got are probably only 3-4 centimeters long, so they just need some time to grow them up and vent them and mature. So I'll just forget about them for a couple of years until they get big enough, and then try that maybe. But cool fish.
Yeah, sounds like a good choice.
And one in its own tank, they don't kill anything else; they only kill each other.
When I first opened my old shop, I had a small group of them in, and I said to someone, "These fish are psychopathic. They will kill everything. They'll look out. You're going to be in trouble with this." "Oh, no, I'll take them all." Same thing. Came back, and a couple of weeks later, I said, "Oh, I've got one left." I was like, "I told you so. I told you they were aggressive little shits. I told you that was going to happen." Yeah, you were right. So murderous things.
It's interesting we don't see the 6-bar ones come in, but they're allowed as well.
So there's a difference between them and the 6 fasciatus, isn't there?
That's the 6-bar ones, yeah.
Right, yeah, and they're not as aggressive, correct?
I have never seen them or kept them, so I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, they're allowed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Must be
that's
harder
my
to get
African
us
one
than me,
that's
I
annoying.
guess.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe they're not as cool.
Yeah,
Although, yeah, coolness is
they look
relative.
the same pretty much.
Yeah,
Let's be honest, minor differences.
yeah.
But no, that makes sense. What do you have next, Cam?
Chocolate gummies I find to be real, and samurai gummies for that matter, ridiculously picky on what you give them. They are both very cool fish, but if you don't give them what they need, they will hate you.
Yeah,
Both
that makes sense.
gorgeous fish, but
So, you mean in terms of like water parameters and stuff?
yeah. Lower pH, nice tannin rich water, lots of places for them to kind of sleek through and slink through and that kind of thing to really give them that natural habitat. If you don't give them that, they just seem to hate you and turn over pretty quickly.
What's the chocolate gummies? Sorry, chocolate gummies. Oh yeah.
Chocolate gummies and samurai
gummy.
Gummy.
Yep.
Yeah. I found the chocolates tend to heavily prone to getting fungal diseases as well, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. But once they're settled in and you're giving them what they need, they're just incredibly fascinating, cool fish. But getting them to that point can be a bit of a pain.
Probably about 20 something years ago, when I had community fish, I tried to put a chocolate guami in my community tank too, and it did not go well.
Yeah.
I also tried to stick a Bacardi in there as well. But anyway,
the best results I've had with chocolates is I had a 2-foot blue planet tank, total botanical, some harlequin raspora, some kulilochas. It was relatively dark, got some natural sunlight coming through, got fed live food relatively often, duckweed covering, big plants coming through, lots of wood, and they were as happy as a pig in shit. They looked amazing. Watching them all day just kind of creep through, picking off little copepods or whatever they are in the water. Absolutely amazing. But then any other time in different environments, they've just gone, no, I hate you. So you really got to give them what they want to really have them going. And then being able to watch their natural behavior is phenomenal too.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, they are one that you see a lot of people really seem to like, but you know, I think not as many people as who like them have success with them, probably for that reason. But yeah, no, good choice. Sweet as. Well, for my next one, I was going to go with, again, a group of fish, not necessarily a specific fish, but I was going to go with apistogrammas because they're really cool fish, and there's so much variety of like different colors and patterns and stuff that you can get that a lot of people, they seem to have gone a bit out of fashion of late, but overall they're really cool little fish, make a real good little centerpiece, but sometimes they just die for no apparent reason. You look at them funny and they die and all this kind of thing. I think that's, again, probably to do with not getting exactly what they want, and then also if something does go wrong, not being that sort of hardy to be able to deal with it. But yeah, that would be the one that would be a really cool fish if it was a little bit easier for people to look after.
Yeah, I used to keep apistos. I used to love them, but I got sick of them. Me and my friends just called it apistoing because they'd just randomly drop dead. You know, you'd usually get 2 or 3 spawns out of a pair, and then one of the parents would die, and you'd have to start again with the fry and they just wouldn't last, even in, you know, like soft acidic water, elder cones, all that stuff. It was just so hard. I don't know whether they were inbred or what it was, but they're just so cool when they're cool, and then they just drop dead. You know.
Yeah, exactly. No, it makes sense. It's a good point. But yeah, did anyone have? Oh, Matt has a question. If we pull it up, so Matt is asking about the balloon and like jumbo and like electric rams that come over. Of late, they've been imported a lot. Yeah, they're pretty messed up. They don't really last. balloon and jumbo stuff is just, I think, very inbred to be able to get there. And then
What are the jumbos? They're not just larger fish. Is there some sort of trait that they've been worked on?
I saw
I
some
thought they
at
just bred for
Hollywood
size.
jumbo electric blues, and they were obviously, I don't know how long they're going to last, but they were wicked. They were
Yeah.
big size. They were the right shape. They were the right color. They were really nice looking fish. Obviously, in my experience with Rambo Game, I've tried them too. They just randomly
Same
drop
thing
dead.
as a pistos.
They just start breathing fast, lying on the bottom, and then just gone.
Yeah, I think for the jumbos, I'm pretty sure they're just bred to be like that. And then I haven't heard of a lot of people having success with those jumbos. In particular, I've heard a lot of people just same thing. They just die for no apparent reason at some point.
But I mean,
Which is
it's
not
like
ideal.
all the rams that come in, all the pistos that come in, they tend to come in, and then 6 months later they're all gone. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
and starts posting, "Oh, I want some more pistos," and then they import some more, and then they're around, and then all of a sudden they're gone. You know, so they just die
I'm
out.
real curious to know how much of that has to do with environmentalness from where they came from, the stress from moving to someone else's house, and the environment from it. Like, spoken to a couple of people, like freshly imported guppies when they first come in, the first lot of fry that come through, massive quantity, and then the next lot, the females just don't seem to give out. And I think it's because they're in really high salinity water before they come to New Zealand. That's what they're used to. They're producing it, get out all these fry. Next time, there is nothing. So how much of that is environmental?
I can't remember. I watched something somewhere from a big, massive facility over. I think you might have done it actually, Cam. And they said they put salt through all of their life bearer tanks.
Yes, Seagrass Farms.
Yeah. All their life bearer tanks have salt through them because they just find with salt in there they don't have any issues. So, yeah, and we don't do that. We don't tend to put salt with our life bearers in tanks, especially if we put them with other stuff that don't like salt.
Yep. See, I question, and you can go all ways through it. Like epistogrammas, the water where they have been into where they're going is not right, and all that kind of stuff. It's all different, and how much shock and all that kind of stuff causes these issues with them. You can question, of course, if they're local bred and they're still doing it, probably some genetic thing along the line. But yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
no,
Blair,
exactly.
Blair did just bring up an interesting point about a lot of these fish are also very seasonal in nature in the wild as well. Like, you know, a pistogramma and stuff, they spawn when all the rains come in, and then all the water dries up and half of them die. You know, and the fry survive, and then do the same thing again next season.
2 or 3 spawns a season, a couple of seasons, they're done.
So they don't often in the wild last 10, 15, 20 years, you know. So maybe our expectations of them are unreasonable as well. Don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, if you guys have any other suggestions that or things that we might have missed.
This is the Cam's had a coffee and didn't go toilet before the podcast moment.
Yeah.
No, this is the Cam's got somewhere to be, kind of got to get ready. So, yeah.
Work doesn't count as somewhere to be.
I'm supposed to be an hour and a half away from here right now.
Oh, well, that's not ideal.
I'm just going to text the client and say I'm running late.
Yeah, well, good plan. But yeah, if you guys have anything you want to, bring up that we've missed, drop them in the comments. But yeah, sweet as.
And also, a reminder of the random question: what do people need to email in?
It's podcast at 3idiots. What is it? Podcast at 3idiots. No, what?
At gmail.com.
podcast3idiots@gmail.com.
Or you can just send a message on Facebook if it's easier, because it's way easier.
Yeah, that's probably going to be easier, let's be honest, but whatever. So it is. So
yeah,
I'll look forward to hearing it next week.
In case people have joined us since then.
Oh, well, I mean, first off, you can send any questions or stories or whatever, but the question that we're specifically asking is, have romantic relations with, marry or kill out of the 3 Idiots crew. Tell us your answers. So, yeah.
I love that.
It is
All
pretty
right,
funny.
sweet. I look forward to
Alright.
hearing from you, and yeah, we'll talk to you later.
Right,
Cool.
cool. Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
everybody.
See you later.
Up the wires.
Bye.